how are you all doing today, you amazing hackers? Hope you are doing well. So I have a quick video for you today on taking notes because somebody asked me in the Slack channel. I'll also put the comment in the video right now. Thank you for that suggestion, by the way. So first of all, let me get something out of the way. I'm not good with taking notes. I'm terrible at taking notes. But I have my strategy and it's worked for me, and I want to present it to you guys in the way that I would take my notes. If you guys have any other suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll also be making a community edition out of this. So first of all, of course, when you have multiple domains, you have to do a subdomain enumeration. That's why I make a separate group. So I make a section group, and in that section group, so google.com is here my section group, I'll make a new section for recon, and I'll add a page for subdomain enumeration. I'll add my specific tool in here and what subdomains I got from that tool. Now I'll also do a page for OSINT, and when I have some results, I'll note them down. When I do a dork, I'll just note down the dork, and if I don't get any results, I'll also note down no results. But I'm not going to be spending a lot of time noting down results that are not useful. So for example, if I found something doing OSINT, if I found an API key, but that API key is only valid for a test environment with test data, I know that when I report that bug, it's not going to get fixed, so I just note it down. I found blah blah blah, it's not going to get fixed, it shouldn't run this again. So that's something I do, something useful. Of course, also my other tools that I run, I also put in here. I have some secure shell scripts that I created. If I find valid output, I'll put it in here. If I don't, I'll put no useful output. That way I know I won't have to be using it again, and I'll just put a minus in front of it. And if there is useful output, I'll just put a plus in front of it. And that way I know that there's something useful in this specific page. So those are some things that I do for recon. I'll also have a separate section for interesting notes, and then here I'll put stuff like, for example, accounts.google.com failed to load 2 out of 3 times. This might be useful in the future. It's not always useful in the future, but it might be. So that's why I just keep them in separate tab. Now when I have my subdomain that I want to attack, I'll have another section group in this main section group. And I'll recon my subdomain first. I'll do stuff like nmap, nicto, gobuster, and I'll note down all those results. So for this case, I do note down all the results because it's really hard for me to know what's useful and what's not at this stage. So I'll just note down anything. Sorry for the noise, by the way, that's my ferret. So when I find something useful, I'll also put a star in front of this specific page, because that way I know from the overview which page has interesting stuff in it. If there's nothing interesting, I don't usually put a minus in front of the single domains, because I'm not 100% sure when something's useful and when something's not. So when you have your recon done, of course you're going to do some endpoint mapping. Now when you're browsing your website and you have Burp Suite Pro or Burp Suite 3 running in the background, you can export a sitemap after you're done browsing the website, and that will contain all the URLs that Burp encountered, so you can paste them in here as well, and this will allow you to test some more. So when you find a bug, you can go through all of the specific URLs and you can see if the bug is still valid on the other URLs as well. That's a tip I have for you guys, do that, because often what we call in software testing, there is a fallacy of clustering of bugs, which means that when you find a bug, often there are other similar bugs related to that bug around that functionality. So that's why I always keep all of the URLs and I'll always test all of them. Also possibly some functional notes, for example, you have to be 18 to register, that kind of stuff. I can keep that in my functional notes tab. Now when I go on to exploiting, first of all, of course, I have my checklist. This will also be in the description below for you guys. I go through my complete checklist, and when I find something on this, I make a separate page, and in this page I'll describe the steps that I have to take before I report my bug. Now I'll also do a separate video on reporting because I think that's an important topic. Of course, I also have a notes page on here, and this note page I'll put weird stuff that I find. For example, NLT is filtered by web application filter. I might be able to use this to put this specific filtered word between another filtered word, and that way maybe the NLT only gets filtered out and my filtered word gets through. So some weird stuff that I can note down in here. Some people have asked me before, if I enter a % sign the server crashes. Is that a security bug? No, it's not, but I would note it down anyway because it might be useful later on, you never know. So those are the notes that I would take. Again, if you have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comments below. I'm sure you guys have done this way better than me. This is one of my weakest points. But I hope you still enjoyed the video anyway. Please leave a like up if you did. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Bye!